Okay, where did the consultation take place?
Consultation took place here at Alexander Court in the Public Prosecutor's Office.
Okay. And what is the outcome about the issue of compensation?
To him, he came here on his own free will, and based on our conversation, I asked him, what compensation did you get based on this case that's in question? So he told me he met with a family member and he was paid a sum of 250,000 rand. And on the same day, which was yesterday, he said a further 150,000 rand will be paid to him in cash. The monies were paid to him in cash, and he's in possession of the first 250,000 rand.
So it's not his prerogative, it's the state's prerogative, but he wanted to withdraw the case.
Yes, that's right.
Yes?
And just to clear the air, you had indicated that you were not touched, none whatsoever, about the compensation discussion. Am I right?
Yes, I was not part of that discussion. I was not part at that meeting when that meeting took place in Sandton at Catherine Street.
Okay.
I only met him for the first time. That was yesterday, based on what the magistrate asked me to do in terms of the compensation.
Second point will be the tracing of the firearm that was used during the commission of this offense.
Okay, thank you. Your Worship, when it comes to tracing of the firearm, the state has put all efforts to trace that firearm, from obtaining a search warrant to the premises where the crime scene was, to asking the accused where the firearms was. In terms of searching their property, we used all our resources, such as the K9 unit, divers going into the pool, a sweep search done into that property.
Why was the pool dirty?
Very dirty, Your Worship.
Yeah?
And
Were divers able to see in that dirty water, or they use the light?
from what I've got a statement in the docket, they used a magnet in the pool, Your Worship, doing a crisscross search.
A staggering cash payment and the promise of more money have emerged at the center of a shocking shooting case involving the family of late Zimbabwean leader Robert Mugabe, as proceedings in the Alexandra Magistrate Court shed new light on what prosecutors describe as an attempt to silence a victim. The court heard on Friday that the 23-year-old Sipho Mahlangu, who survived being shot twice in the back at a luxury Hyde Park residence in February, was allegedly paid 250,000 rand in cash, with a further 150,000 rand promised to him, bringing the total to 400,000 rand in exchange for his silence. Testifying before the court, Investigating Officer Colonel Raj Ramchunda revealed that Mahlangu himself had confirmed receiving the initial payment and said he was paid 250,000 rand, and on the same day, a promise was made that an additional 150,000 rand would be paid to him in cash. Adding that this confirmation came directly from the victim during discussions on Thursday, Ramchunda was quick to distance law enforcement from the arrangement, emphasizing that the payment was not sanctioned by authorities and urging the court to impose a severe sentence in light of the circumstances. At the center of the case are 28-year-old Bellarmine Chatunga Mugabe, the youngest son of the former Zimbabwean president, and his cousin, 33-year-old Tobias Modonodze. The pair returned to court for sentencing proceedings, which have since been postponed to next week, Wednesday. Both accused entered guilty pleas earlier this month, but their admissions differ significantly in scope and severity. Mugabe admitted to pointing a firearm at Mahlangu and to residing in South Africa illegally, but avoided a conviction on the more serious charge of attempted murder. Modonodze, however, bore the brunt of the charges. He pleaded guilty to attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, unlawful possession of a firearm, and contravening immigration laws. positioning him as the primary offender in the eyes of the prosecution. The case also includes additional allegations tied to a separate incident in which Mugabe is accused of pointing what was described as a toy gun, further complicating his legal standing. Advocate Lawrence Hodges, representing both accused, appealed to the court for leniency, arguing that imprisonment will be excessive under the circumstances. He told the court that his clients were financially capable of complying with any reparations or fines that might be imposed. And so should this court order further reparations, both accused will be in a position to honor such an order. Should this court be inclined to impose a fine, both accused are in a position to pay. He further argued that a suspended sentence will be appropriate, pointing out that the pair had already spent several months in custody awaiting the outcome of the case. In a move that underscored their willingness to resolve the matter, the defense also indicated that both men were prepared to cover the cost of their own deportation back to Zimbabwe should court deem it necessary. However, the prosecution painted a far less conciliatory picture. Ramchunda told the court that neither accused had shown meaningful cooperation with investigators, particularly in efforts to recover the firearm used in the shooting, a critical piece of evidence that remains missing months after the incident, and that both the accused were present when the firearm was discharged, resulting in the victim being injured. They have shown no remorse in assisting the police in locating the weapon. He added that a specialized tracking team remains on standby should the accused decide to disclose the firearms whereabouts, a detail that highlights ongoing investigative efforts despite the guilty pleas. The events leading to the shooting trace back to February when Mahlangu was employed at the Mugabe family's Hyde Park property in Johannesburg. According to court testimony, a confrontation erupted, escalating into violence. As Mahlangu attempted to flee the scene, he was shot twice in the back, an attack that left him in critical condition and necessitated urgent medical intervention. The incident has once again thrust the Mugabe name into the South African legal spotlight, a pattern that stretches back years. In 2017, Grace Mugabe, the widow of Robert Mugabe and mother of Bellarmine, was accused of assaulting a young model at Johannesburg Hotel using an extension cord. The case drew widespread public attention, but ultimately collapsed after she was granted diplomatic immunity, allowing her to leave the country without facing prosecution. More recently, Bellarmine's older brother, Robert Mugabe Jr. appeared before the Harare court on a drug possession charge after being stopped by police for allegedly driving the wrong way down a one-way street. As sentencing looms in the current case, the Alexandra Magistrates Court is now faced with balancing competing narratives, a defense arguing for leniency based on the served and financial restitution, and a prosecution insisting that the seriousness of the offense, compounded by alleged attempts to silence the victim, demands a far harsher outcome. The matter resumes next week, where the court is expected to determine whether justice in the high-profile case will come in the form of prison time, financial penalties, or a combination of both. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.